Okay. Hello everyone. Sex and Lightning. At your service. What I'm going to do, I'm not actually promoting this live stream because I actually lost my nerve to colour live in front of people. So yeah, you're just going to have to cope with this recording for now. Right. What I'm doing, I've had quite a few requests to do tutorials for my colouring. But it takes me so damn fucking long to colour anything that it would probably just even take a century to put together a tutorial. And I'm not very good at explaining things through words, so I just thought it would be better that you kind of watch. So anyway, this here is a fan art for, mainly for myself. But we have here, this is my muse for my Sex and Lightning blog. This here obviously is Yamato for Great Harmony on Tumblr, and this is that person's other muse, Hiroshi Tara. I'm not going to explain why they're in this position because it would take too damn long. But anyway, what I'm going to show you is how I shade, because so many of you are so interested. I don't know why, I don't think there's anything particularly special about how I shade, but whatever. So, I'm going to shade Yamato's shirt. So as you can see, it's just flat colour. I mean, you got Kakashi's here, look. Can you see my cursor? Where I've kind of started shading it in and giving it little highlights, so you can see a massive difference between the shaded version and a flat version. So I already have the flat. You can see how many layers I've got, and that's just one folder. I've got, I think, hundreds. I've already got the flat colour for the shirt or vest or whatever highlighted here in this layer. It's just called vest because it's in a folder named Yamato. They've all got their own folders, just so I know where I am. Because I just get overwhelmed with layers and I get lost and then I forget what I'm doing. So anyway, what I'm going to do now, because it's such a dark colour, I find with certain colours, especially this kind of blue, red, grey, and any kind of, I can't even explain it. Certain colours I find difficult to shade on a different layer on their own because they like create separate colours and it just looks awful. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate the layer for the vest. I'm just going to name it vest. Oops. Shading, and I'm only going to use this layer just for the darker bits. So I have vest and I have vest shading sitting above it. If I had it underneath, you wouldn't be able to see anything, so I'm having that sitting just above. So yeah, it looks exactly the same as you can see because it is just a duplicate of the flat colour. And the reason why I've done that is so that when I'm shading like around the edges here, and then I want to like blend it all in, I'm not going to just pull all the colour, the original colour, inwards and expose all the background behind it, because it's just terrible and it's such a pain to try and sort out. So where are we? Right, I've got vest shading selected. Make sure you've got the right one selected. I'm going to use my dropper tool to select the colour. And then I'm going to go into colours, and you can see the colour of his shirt is there, and I'm going to make it ever so slightly darker. Okay. And then I'm going to get Magic Wand, select Vest, and then click. Just there. So that way I can go as bonkers as I like, and it won't go outside of the area where you can see all the little marching ants. Just remember, when you're using Magic Wand, even though that layer is selected, you have to click on the object you want to work on, or it just won't work. So anyway, I've got my brush. I don't use any special type of brush, I just like this row up here. That's all I use. I've got it set at 19, which is a decent size, I suppose. And I've got, what kind of brush have I got? It's just a hard brush. My opacity is at 100%, I've got my little pressure thing selected, and I'm ready to roll. So, zoom in on his pretty face. That was such a pretty face. And I'm just gonna like cell shade. I bet you can barely see this. Okay. Right. So his top half I'll probably make quite taut in a sense because he's sat up a little bit. So I mean, unlike Keki here, he's like all slouched over. So I've made all the fabric around his midriff all crumpled up, but I've made his shoulders I haven't actually finished him yet, so you just have to bear with me, but I've made his shoulders quite smooth, whereas down here, as you can see, it's quite ruffled up. So that's kind of what I'm going for with Yamato, but maybe not quite as detailed as his, because of the position that he's in. His shoulders are here, just pick those out. There we go. Don't mind me, I have to talk to myself a lot when I'm drawing. Right, and I am literally winging this. I'm not really paying much attention to any specific kind of detail. Maybe just where, I mean, I've got some lines here that I wanted to pick out in particular, which is why I drew them in. To know my throaty voice. Excuse me. Right, to make this quicker, I'm going to make my brush bigger. 27. And I've got to take into account that he's pressed against the other guy's back, and that's where his top of his thigh is. Another line there I wanted to pick out. There we go. But yeah, I think with clothes or like rumpled cloth or whatever, you're so much better just being completely and utterly random. Don't overdo it. Actually end up with too much detail and it just looks daft. I've made that mistake more than once. Right, so I've got a little bit of something that I'm quite happy with. So I'm going to zoom out and take a gander. So it probably looks really pants at the minute. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blend it all in. So, smudge tool. Now, the trick to the smudge tool, because I know some of you have said that you struggle with it lagging when you use smudge tool. Don't set the smudge tool above 40 points because that's when you start getting lag. I usually have it just below 40. At the minute it's on 37. So yeah, I'm just going to literally just smudge all this in. I mean, it might look like it's disappearing a little bit, but that's what I want. That's the kind of effect that I want. Because I can always build on top of it. This is just like basics. My computer really hates live stream, by the way. It's chugging. So I like pull the colour around, make it into points, and maybe shade downwards on the bits that I want to like really define. Pen. Battery's going in my pen. No. Here we go. I have to smack it to get it to work again. Right. And then a bit around his face. Also now, I probably won't even post this video, or I might post it after I've completed the picture, so you can kind of see how it came together. If you're interested, of course, you don't have to watch this by any means. Right, and that's with the first lot of shading all blended in. I'm going to get rid of that for a second. Right, I think that was pretty awesome so far. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to reselect with my magic wand the vest. Always make sure as well, when you've shaded in, you must go back to the original flat to select everything else. I mean, I could go to vest shading, Oh, okay. Well, that failed. Usually it just picks out the bits that I've shaded in, but it obviously didn't, so... Okay, that's fine. Wow, that's embarrassing. I always go back to the flat, just in case it saves so much time. Back to best shading, and then I'm going to start defining some of the bits. I'm going to make it even darker. So I've gone back to my colours, and I'm going to make it darker. Now I'm not going to create a new layer for this one, because I'm lazy. You can create new layers if you want, but I just find with colours like this, blending it in just doesn't work. It just doesn't have it. I don't know why. I'm not smart enough to know why. So I'm going to define that bit around there. Because he's pressed up against Keki's back, I kind of want it to look like, I don't know, like it's being dragged somehow. Define that bit there. I might just add a random shape. Just for the hell of it. Okay, shoulders again. Okay. His face. Yes, I do talk to myself quite a lot. Especially when I'm really into something. Okay. Woo! God. I need a desktop, man. Right, so I've done that. And yep, that product's really rubbish. But it'll look really sweet when I've blended it all. I cannot cell shade for crap, so I don't try. Tried before, failed horribly. Didn't bother trying again. Sorry if I'm not really explaining that much to you and you're really confused and not quite sure what I'm doing. I'm doing my best. It's just a matter of painting and smudging, really. I use a smudge tool for everything. Ooh. I might just make it look like this. Now just smooth that off. I don't know why I did that. Oh, it's going to look really bad. Although I could probably piss around with that and make it look like something. Yeah. Ah! It's a random button on the side of my pen. Pull it out. I want that to be quite defined as well. So. Now I would put some music on, but I think I had music on last time I did a live stream and no one could actually hear me talking. Should really try and configure those settings really, so I can do both. I'm much better explaining things when I'm actually talking than trying to write it all up. Ooh. Okay, let's see how bad that looks. Ah, not too bad. So that's that. Next, I'm going to create a new layer. And you should. Oh, you should name your layers. Really, I don't because I'm just bone. But I'm going to name this one just for you guys. I'm going to show off. So this will be vest highlights. I can't spell 1. And the reason I'm numbering it is because there's always more than one. Because it's the highlights that are a pain in the backside. So again, I'm going to go back to vest. I'm going to select it with the magic wand, and then I'm going to go to vest highlights. And then I'm going to select with my little dropper thingy the original colour, and then I'm going to make it like a tad lighter. Okay. And then do his face first, try and define some of that. I'm going to take that down to a 10. And I'm going to like highlight teeny little bits. No, I'm not going to bother around there. I want to highlight all the bends in the creases and stuff. The parts that I've really defined, I'll highlight those as well. And also make sure that it sits above your vest shading, so it's not going to show up. Right, let's see how that looks for now. It looks crap, but it won't do when I'm done with it. Oh dear. Right, I'm just going to get the smudge tool, not tool, and just literally just pull that around and smear it all in into the colour. When you're doing highlights as well, what I find is best. You can see me pulling it down with the smudge tool, and that's fine. But make sure that you go with the grain at the same time. You just end up with a horrible jaggy mess, and it just doesn't look right. So when you want to pull it and manipulate the shape of it, I'm pulling mine into points and trying to make it look like it's disappearing. Go with the grain, or travel the way that the highlight or the shade's running, so you don't end up in a mess. Told you it takes me ages to shade anything. Okay, so that's pretty nifty. Oh no, I forgot them bits. I do this all the time. Sit there it doesn't look right. Why doesn't it look right? Oh no, I forgot to colour his face in. I remember in fan art of Kakashi, and I forget to put his scar in if he's got that eye exposed. It's it's only the most distinctive feature on his face, but just randomly forget it. Right, that looks pretty cool to me so far. What I'm going to do now, for every highlight that I do, I'm going to make a new layer. Because if it goes wrong, I can just delete it. With the shading, I can't, because I'd have to be creating new layers all the time just to keep the colour. And I haven't got time for that shit, to be honest. So make it lighter again. I might take this down to a 5 this time. And just pick out really little bits. Little bits that I just I don't know. I feel a bit more dominant, or prominent rather, not dominant, than the rest of it. I usually smudge as I go, rather than putting all the little bits in and then smudging it all in one go. I usually just do it a bit at a time. Zoom out again, have a look, make sure it looks okay. A little bit there, quite a little bit. Trouble down. And make sure when you when you're shading fabric, don't have your smudge tool on too harsh. I've got mine on 49% strength. If you have it any higher than that, it's just going to smear everywhere. It just looks like you've sneezed on it. You don't want that. It's nasty. This bit too. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Oh. Great stuff. Sorry if you hate the picture, by the way. I think you're getting the gist now, though, to be honest. Like, you just build on top of what you've got already until you get an effect that you're happy with. So I'll probably end this stream in a little bit after you get like the general idea of how I do this, because this will go on for quite some time. I'll probably work on his shirt for a couple of hours, because that's just how I roll. I mean, some of you guys are like super quick when it comes to drawing, just bang something out in like half an hour. I can't do that. It takes hours for me, and this is why. It's a very painstaking operation shading pictures for me. But yeah, I think you get the general idea of where I'm coming from with this. So I'll probably go back into the shading as well. So best shading, switch. Probably play around with the shade I've got already. Pick the darkest one, make it a little bit darker. Make my brush bigger, 30. Start to find some of the more deeper grooves. Like I said, I do this as I go. I probably shouldn't, but I do. Ooh. Awesome. I think you're getting the gist now, right? I don't think this method is particularly hard. I haven't learned it from anywhere. I just kind of taught myself how to shade like this on Photoshop. I mean, I read some tutorials and they just didn't work for me. This probably doesn't work for you. It's fine. Everyone's got their own method. I'm just like literally showing you this is how I do it, because some of you wanted to know. But it takes a while. It does take a long time, and a lot of zooming in and out to make sure that the shading that you've got actually looks right. Because you might think it looks okay from this distance, and then you'll zoom out, and you're like, "Oh my god, that looks fucking awful!" Then you have to stop and do it again. So yeah, that's how I shade. Obviously this is like nowhere near done, but I think you are getting the general gist of how I do it. So yeah, that's it for my live streaming. I think I might just pick out some little tiny portions of colour before I leave. You don't have to smudge everything. Like certain highlights I don't touch. I just put the little bits in and then just leave it as it is, and just gives it a little bit of extra sheen. But yeah, that's how I do it. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Tumblr sometime. Ooh, what am I doing?